Let's talk about emotion today. I'm going to read some quotes from Pinterest for you. Born to love you like a poem. Forced to yearn for you like a miserable poet. Did I see desire in your eyes, or only my yearning staring back? I yearn for you like the night for the moon. Oh my gosh. We have a degenerate culture. Now, I am strongly against yearning culture. It is dominated by not men. Not even men that like other men. Certainly not men that like women. It is dominated by boys and very young, immature people. I'm sure we all went through a phase in high school where we had a huge crush on somebody. You feel those butterflies. It's great. It's cute. And then you get your heart broken, or you meet that person and they start to like you back and you realize it's all a facade, a fugazi. It's a... That's what yearning culture is. It is people that have never developed past the 8th grade emotionally. And unfortunately, there are a huge class of performative men that haven't. They were either raised wrong or raised with no adult men in their life. And they're stuck yearning at an old age. That's really tragic. It's really tragic to me. There's an issue with yearning because if you were an adult human being with any maturity, you'll realize that human beings are all human. We all have issues, we have good things about us, we have bad things about us. And choosing a partner is about choosing somebody you want to spend your life with. You know, optimize for a Tuesday afternoon. You want to have good chemistry, you want to be friends, you want to be aligned politically, religiously. Ideally, you have similar goals, you want to be in similar places. And for the things where you don't align, you learn to grow and forgive each other. Because no two people are the same. But yearning culture, you're basically idolizing someone. That person you are looking at isn't a real human being. This is your mind. It's a construct of your mind. Because if you really knew that person, you would realize, just like everybody else, they're kind of a normal person. They could be an awesome, incredible human being. But this emotional, gut-wrenching captivation would be not deserved. I think it's so funny because all of the most iconic, performative men are kind of like these female written characters. It's kind of like the equivalent of the hot chick in the movie, like the Megan Fox in Transformers. I think the yearning man is the female equivalent of Megan Fox in the Transformers. You know, it's this thing that just doesn't exist, and it shouldn't exist. And I think the funniest thing is, I have a lot of guy friends that actually do still yearn. And the funniest part about it is those guys, I'm not saying they're incels. I don't even want to be rude to them. But I tell my girlfriends, if we're in a room with 30 or 40 people, we're at a church gathering, right? And they're talking about, there are no good guys. These men, they're looking for other women. They're not interested in me. I just can't find good guys. My response is always, look around. Okay, you wouldn't even consider 80% of these men. The men that are yearning are not jacked. They don't know how to talk to women well. They're not attractive. They're not tenacious or dangerous in any way that makes you look at them or even consider them as an option. I had this friend at school, and I want to tell you a story about him because he is the perfect example of a good guy. He's a pre-physical therapy major, one of the nicest, funniest people I know. He runs a lot, he exercises. He's not benching 225 for reps, but he keeps himself healthy. He's a servant. He's very intelligent. He gets fantastic grades. In fact, I believe he got a perfect 100 in anatomy lab. And he's gotten one of the top scores all time in anatomy lecture. Like, I think he got the second top score all time, like a 99.99 something. A near perfect score. And he liked a girl last year, and he was obsessed with her. When I tell you, he would die, like on the spot, offered, would you save this girl and die? He would do it immediately. Immediately. 0 questions asked. And she didn't even consider him as an option. Dude, they hung out almost every single day. They had classes together. They would study together. They interacted so much. He was obsessed with this woman. And she would tell him about other plans with other guys that she was interested in. She was so uninterested in this person. She didn't even acknowledge him as an option. And I mean, at some point she realized he was interested in her, but she didn't care. And eventually he was so pained by this. It was more than a year. This man just loved her, and she just completely ignored him. That he moved on. And I want to realize that this, my friend, isn't some virtuous hero for this. And the girl that didn't like him isn't some monster. This is just the way the world works. And I wish someone had explained to a younger me that the way, especially us Christians, were taught, but most people now, most young men were taught to date, was so friendly, was so submissive, was so emasculated that it wasn't attractive at all. And do not interpret this as the red pill. I am not trying to say, like, beat and choke people or, like, I'm not trying to red pill you here. But I need you to understand that to be attractive, yearning is just not optimal. If we're talking about optimal dating, you want to be the type of person that people want to spend time around. Fundamentally, I think that's the most important thing. And so all these strategies that people show on the internet, looks maxing, status maxing, money maxing, income maxing, just brain rot, right? They're all kind of workarounds for, like, be the type of person that people want to be around. And you can do that so many ways. That's the coolest part about it. Like, people might want to be around you because you're a super attractive person. That's not a bad thing. It's just the way the world works. People might want to be around you because you're ridiculously funny or because you're ridiculously caring. So you need to be somebody that people want to be around, and then you need to show interest. And you can't be like, you need to be confident, right? You don't want to ask, like, if you're asking a girl on a date or if you're showing interest in somebody, don't make it too difficult for them. Don't be like, oh, hey, I was thinking if you were interested in me, are you busy Saturday? I don't know what we'll do, but do you like this or that? Be like, hey, I'd love to go to dinner with you. Show a little confidence. Show that you're a guy that's showing interest, that has other options for things to do on Friday night, but he'd like to spend time with you. Yearning is dead, people. Okay? A guy that's yearning, he does not have an option other than this one person. And as a Christian, I sincerely believe that there is no one person for you. Marriage, love, is a choice. It's a choice every day that you're with somebody to make that the one person. That person could die. You could die. And it would be perfectly acceptable for them to go and find another person. But anyway, that's enough about yearning. Let's talk about World War III. I really believe, I believe there is no room to not be an optimist. You must look at the future with all its dark, scary uncertainty and think, I can make the best of this. And that's exactly what I believe. So, I'm going to give you 4 reasons why I think World War III could be good. The first reason is that America needs to unite about something. And if there's Hitler 2, if there's Stalin 2, if there's Mao 2, whatever the next bad guy, whatever the next boogeyman is, I truly believe that if America united to fight evil, a true evil, when we finished that war, we would come home and have a unity and a economic prosperity that was rivaled by no other previous country before us. It would be legendary. So that's the first point. Unity. We need something as Americans to unify about. And there's so much money on social media, on conventional media. So many pathways make money from dividing, from igniting anger and hatred, that is really hard right now. So if we just found somebody that we could all hate together as a country, all fight together as a country, that would be really good. That's why like an alien invasion would be really optimal for humanity, as long as we were able to win, because we'd have something to unite us against a common enemy. So, unity. Next, it could fix hypergamy. The idea is that we've lived in a society that enforces monogamy, right? One man, one woman. Well, we did away with that. The boomers did away with that. We have kind of modern hookup culture now. And so for a lot of young men, the dating market's very difficult. I would say underrated difficult for young women, because I think in the dating market, I'm going to get back to World War III, but in the dating market for like short-term hookup culture, there is way more men interested in it than young women. So only 20% of the guys, maybe less, that are involved in hookup culture are actually, getting to third base, whatever. And all of the women that are interested in hookup culture are interested in a very small group of guys. In marriage and like spouse quality, I think men are the lowest quality they have been for a long time. I really believe that Gen Z can come back from this. But our men are just not performing like they should. They're not graduating college like they should. They're not making money like they should. They're gambling. They're watching porn. They're doing unhealthy things. They're playing way too many video games. And World War III would seriously solve this issue. All the chuds would, I'm not going to say they're going to die, but there's something about a war that takes away the facade, all the comforts, all the things that protect and prevent men from maturing as they should. A war gets rid of that pretty quickly. There's a reason there was a baby boom after World War II. It wasn't that these men came home and were trying to, that the men had more reason to be interested in the women. It was just that when men behave like they should, when you come home from war, you've seen battle. You are a tenacious, disciplined human being with goals. You know how to follow goals. You know how to follow orders. You know how to choose your own destiny, right? You know how to survive on a battlefield. You come home, you're a very attractive spouse. Compare that to this chud, G Fuel drinking, C4 drinking, Gen Zer that has done nothing with his life, you're going to be in a better place. So, hypergamy could be fixed. If all the men just went off to war, they would come home, all the women would be like, sweet, men are men again. And we could enforce monogamy and then make people get married and have kids and have fantastic lives. I'm pretty sure overall life satisfaction was at its highest, at its peak in post-war America. People are just happy to be alive. Now, before I do the last 2 points, I need you to understand that I actually really hope World War III does not happen in my lifetime. World War I and II were some of the deadliest wars of all time. Hundreds of millions of people were killed in 40-year span between Russia, China, and Germany, and all the terrible things that they did. So I don't hope World War III happens. I'm just trying to look on the bright side and just hope things not be so scary. There's a lot of great things that can happen anyway without World War III causing them. So, third point is that World War III could actually save the middle class. After war, there's usually a redistribution of resources. And after World War II, at least, the middle class profited a lot off of that. And I think that was one of the most important things of post-war America, was just how well off the middle class was. And I think we're really well off now. It's just there's less people in the middle class. The rich are so bonkers rich. The poor aren't actually that poor, but their lives are terrible because they're addicts. Being in poverty today is being sold addiction every second of your life and being farmed by the government they give you money, they keep you, they do some things to help you along, or they don't. And then they promise you things, and then you're kind of forced to vote for them to keep them in power, to keep them giving you just enough to survive. I really don't like the faucet of government money and how it's currently distributed to poor people. I think there's not enough money helping poor people reach the middle class. It's just helping poor people stay poor. There's almost no incentives for single mothers to get married, or even I'm not going to get into the weeds here, but there's a lot of incentives to be a single parent. It's hard for the middle class, actually, from a tax perspective, to survive under the current marriage laws that exist. Section 8 housing doesn't have any proper transitions to help people get their income up so that they can become self-sustaining. It's just keeps you stuck in a hard life. And I would love to see a war where we get our men and they go and learn skills. Skills in war are actually very transferable to skills in non-war, in peacetime. The factories that built tanks started building cars in America after World War II. And a lot of that innovation, it can be transferred. And that takes me into my next point. So the middle class could be saved by World War III. And lastly, the technological innovation from World War III. Dude, it would be bonkers. We would probably colonize the moon within 20 years of World War III. The drones we would create, the quality of vehicles, space travel, energy that would be unlocked from a world war would be ridiculous. Absolutely bonkers. So, those are the 4 reasons that World War III might not be absolutely terrible. Again, I don't want anybody to die. But I was clowning on the women a little bit for wanting this performative yearning male. Now it's time to clown on the men. There's one quote that has dominated the summer blockbuster, and that is, "I'm your freaky Nikki." If you've seen Obsession, you know that this movie is pretty much unrivaled as far as my feed in social media. It's bonkers. I've seen the entire movie in clips diced up. And men, the funniest thing is men are defending this. They're like, this is an optimal, like, I'd take Nikki any day of the week. And that's very sad. I have a friend that will go unnamed that for a girlfriend, he basically just wants a house cat. And he'll even say that if you ask him, which I think is quite frankly terrible. But there are a lot of men that are just interested in an extremely attractive person that is absolutely insane and hyper obsessed with them. Now, in reality, nobody actually wants this. Like, it's terrible for you. In the same way that no woman actually wants to be with a performative male. You know, like, they like the idea of it, but nobody wants that. The guys love the idea of an obsessed, crazy partner, but nobody actually wants that. But yeah, obsession's a very, very funny blip in human history. I would have loved if the ending they were both obsessed with each other and he didn't die of pills of the overdose. That would be, dare I say, optimal. I want a sequel where there's definitely going to be a sequel, by the way. There is no chance that that studio doesn't cash in for like an entire Obsession series. They literally just created $1 billion money printing press. You're telling me that with proper marketing, you can spend $750,000 on a film and make $100 million plus? Dude, strap in for Obsession 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6.5, 7, the sequel. It's going to be nuts. That IP is $1 billion IP. But yeah. Guys, I have read a lot of books in my time. I've read a lot of self-help books, and here's just a few that I pulled off the shelf in my room. 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. Read People Like a Book by Patrick King. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Excuse me. Master Your Focus by, I can't even say his name. And the iconic How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, talking about books is one of my favorite things on my podcast. One, because I just remember the book so much better after talking about it. And two, because I feel like you don't actually have to read a whole book to get the takeaways from a book. And so I might make some separate episodes on some of these. But today we're just going to talk about like the highlights from How to Win Friends and Influence People. What a banger. I think if there's one self-help book that has been the most important in my life, it is this book. The reason is you can be optimal at so much, at so many habits and strategies and, you know, technical skills. But if you can't stop yourself from burning relationships to the ground around you, like so many of my friends do, you're not going to achieve what you need to in life. So this book is divided up, I believe, into 5 parts. 4 parts. Part 1 is fundamental techniques in handling people. Part 2 is 6 ways to make people like you. Part 3 is how to win people to your way of thinking. And part 4 is be a leader, how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. So, of any of the books that I talk about on my podcast, this is one that you shouldn't just get from me. Don't just listen to my book summary. The Nazi book summary, 6 things we can learn from Nazi Germany, or 7, I don't remember. 6 or 7, oh my gosh, 6 or 7. You don't need to read that book. That book is like a few hours to read, and I summarize it pretty quickly in 50 minutes. And add much better thoughts. Like he's a little wordy. It was a great book, but even for a short book, he didn't really get to the point that well. I got to the point, my friend. This book I'll never be able to properly summarize. You should read it and reread it and reread it. There was a time I had this sitting in my car for like a year of just like, if I ever get bored, I'll just pick it up and read a section. But part one, the first chapter is titled, "If You Want to Gather Honey, Don't Kick Over the Beehive." And this is such a simple point, but literally nobody can do this effectively. Let me tell you about it. Let's start with a story from this morning, actually. So I'm coming home from work this morning at freaking 7:30 a.m. There's two guys. I also work in the one of the most dangerous parts of Maine, downtown Lewiston. There's shootings, like, I think there was like 9 shootings this year, and Maine is small. This is a small population. A lot of people are struggling, a lot of homelessness, and a lot of drug addiction. So across from my hospital is one of the most dangerous 7-Elevens in the country, okay? And I go get gas there and get energy drinks there because the Indian couple that owns it has ridiculously fantastic deals. Like, sometimes they'll have like 2 for $4.50 energy drink deals, and like very, very valuable stuff. This is where I got my C4 that I'm currently sipping on. But I like this store. And so this morning I go in, I get my 2 energy drinks. These were like $5. But there was a misunderstanding over change between just think of a person that comes from a ghetto. Whatever you think of as that person, that's what this guy looked like. And he was trying to get change back or something. And he thought that the gas station teller had given him the wrong money, and the gas station teller was confused and mad at him because he was being yelled at. They did not discuss the issue whatsoever. And they got into a screaming match, both insulting each other, both saying slurs at each other. Somebody was videoing. They almost called the cops, and then basically it ended. But the issue was an issue of change, like calculating how much change you were supposed to get back. And obviously there was a language barrier as well, but what I'm getting at is that you cannot start any productive conversation ever with insults. Insults will get you nowhere. 0% of the time, making the person feel worse will help you. Ever. So if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. People are irrational when they're upset. You need to realize that you are also somewhat irrational when you're upset. So don't get upset, and don't ever make people upset. You're not going to be able to work with them. So that's the first chapter. The second chapter is the big secret with dealing with people. And again, it goes over, let's get to it. It goes over things that people want. And there's a list of 8 things that he lists. And these are general, but health and preservation of life, food, sleep, money and things that money buy, life in the afterlife, sexual gratification, the well-being of children, and a feeling of importance. That last one you're going to need to focus up on for later. So, making people feel important is very important. There's a quote from this book that says, "In my wide association of life, meeting with many and great people in various parts of the world," Schwab declared, "I have yet to find the person, however great or exalted his station, who did not do better work and put forth greater effort under a spirit of approval than he would under a spirit of criticism." Just make people feel like they're important. And I'm not talking manipulative. The whole point of this book is that when you are dealing with people, you deal in truth. You're not lying. You're not flattering to somebody. But the truth is, if you look at somebody through a somewhat positive perspective, if you are looking for good and progress and something to approve in a child, something to approve of in a child, of a person, anybody, you're gonna find it. Because people, quite frankly, actually do a lot of good stuff. They do a lot of horrible stuff. The worst stuff. But if you focus on things to look for in approval, people blossom under that. And people will love you because of it. If you're just looking for things to like about people. There was a story I knew of a car salesman, the number one car salesman in the world eventually. And they tried to figure out what he did more than anybody else. And they fundamentally, when they got down to it, they figured out that he basically just said, I like you more than anyone else. That was how he sold cars. He wasn't trying to manipulate them. He wasn't trying to scrounge them, or he wasn't the best negotiator. He probably was great at everything he did. But what separated him from the rest of the competition was that he genuinely liked people. There was another study of popular kids in school, and they found that the people that people know their name, that people tend to like them, that that one guy in class that he walks down the hall and everybody's like, oh, hey Josh, how you doing, Josh? Looking good, Josh. You know what was the number one factor associated with that? It wasn't what sports they were good at, how well connected their family was. No, the one thing that separated them was liking other people. That was it. That's literally all it takes. Look for good stuff about people around you and they will love you. So, he who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. And the big quote from this book is that you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. So you got to like people. You have to look for things that are good in them. And then you have to be extraordinarily interested in them. What are their hobbies? He goes on to talk about being... somebody said, wow, what a great conversationalist you are, Dale Carnegie. And the conversation they had just had, he was just asking about their garden. And he was ridiculously interested in this person's garden. And the person was telling him all about it. They were so excited to tell him about this garden. And after that, that was all it took. They thought he was a fantastic conversationalist. People just want to be heard. Just want to be listened to. Just want one person to show interest in them. So that's part one, the fundamental techniques in handling people. Now, we're already going a little long, but I think I'm going to do part two next week. And I just want to say that I need to be very concerned about my digital footprint. And I value all of you. And I'm going to try to be as honest as possible and as funny as possible without offending anybody. Because someday I hope to be in the public space of some sort. The only reason I'm doing this podcast is not because people are watching this. I just want to get good at talking about ideas, and forming and sharpening my opinions. I'm going to try to buy another mic soon. And I want to start having guests so that guests can start teaching me things instead of me doing my own box of research. Because realistically, I'm not doing research for this stuff. This information is information that I've already applied to my life. The pile of psychological theories I have and strategies I have, I can't just regurgitate this garbage forever. So I want to start having people, but the long-term goal of this is 5, 10, 15 years from now. I would love to start making changes in our local politics and our society. Now, again, I hope, right now, I am making this content for clippers that are trying to find dirt on me in the future. That's how I'm thinking through this content. Can I say things that form my opinions well, that show who I am well, honestly, without just getting destroyed clip farming because I don't know what I'm saying in the future. So again, if you're watching this, I really hope that there's some poor intern on, I don't think I'll be in politics, but in some group that has to go through all 200 of my first episodes to look for something slanderous that they can clip me for. And if you are that poor intern, thanks for watching, kid. Because I sure as heck know that none of my 50 viewers right now made it to 36 minutes. Unless you're, I don't know, Sophia maybe, I don't know, Gage, I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of the long-term goal. I just want to be eloquent here. I just want to be able to talk about my ideas and have good word recall and questions and thoughts so that someday, ideally 5, 10, 15 years down the future, when I get a better setup, when I get better microphones, better lighting, better guests, more consistency, freaking awesome merch like Modern Wisdom, that I'll be good for you guys. This is a training ground for me. I'm going to do 1 episode a week every week. But yeah, if you're here, just stick along for the ride. Don't watch all my videos. I'm sure most of them will be garbage. Literal garbage for the next 2 to 5 years. That's what I'm planning on. I just need to get good at talking about stuff. So, thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching this brain rot content. And yeah, I truly care about you. Again, I really don't know who makes it to the end of a 37-minute video that is just some kid talking. But thank you. And I truly care about you on the other side of the screen. I really want you to understand that I don't know who you are, but I think you are valuable. And I think that you have struggles and you have issues and you probably don't know how to fix them all, and you probably hate yourself a little bit, but you probably see something in yourself that's so cool that you feel like if the world could just understand you, that you could just get good enough at showing that thing, that everybody would recognize how special you are. And I believe that. The problem is that you have vices that are preventing you from getting there. You have bad habits. You have bad patterns of thought. You have issues that make you annoying to deal with that people don't like. And I feel that way too, but I know that you can do better. I know that I can do better as well. But if you have any questions, any ideas for a video, heck, if you just want somebody to listen to your life, just text me. I leave my Instagram in most of the bios for my videos. Go on to that. I check it every day. I have a 2-minute time limit. I can respond to your message. Thanks for watching. And my friend, I will see you next week.